We're just gonna let it happen. Okay, so let me tell you this story, guys. This is a story about how I sold a vehicle that I did not own to somebody in Manhattan without the vehicle present, getting cash. Seriously, yeah. So this goes back to my time in sales, right? So I used to travel the country leading sales teams, and we'd set up kiosks in malls, we do retail sales, things like that. And we had a van, trailer, stuff to move kiosk equipment, across states and things like that. And over one night, it ended up breaking down. Okay, so it ended up breaking down, and for this particular time, this was way, way, way back in the beginning of the company. I was not the team leader, so I was actually just an employee at the time, and I was like, you know what, it's probably fine. We can just go through, whatever it is, and who knows? It's chugging a little bit, but we don't have to stop. Team leader said no, we definitely have to stop. So what ended up happening was we pull over, we get this thing inspected, but basically there was antifreeze mixing with the engine, and it was completely, you couldn't drive it. It was done. I found out over quite a long period of time though. It was an overnight adventure where I ended up only getting about 45 minutes of sleep. We still had to work the entire next day. It was rough, but this story has to start there because that's where the van broke down. And it broke down in, I think, the Bronx of New York. So, and that's where we stayed for a large portion of the night. Well, either way, the regional director of the company wanted to reclaim a few things in this van. He didn't want to reclaim everything. He wanted the seats in the back of the van, believe it or not. He wanted the seats, he wanted the Easy Pass, and what else? I think that was it. He wanted the seat, one seat in the back seat, and the Easy Pass. Well, this was upstate. This was maybe 4-hour drive, 5-hour drive, something like that. And this vehicle was sitting there, and he had left it in a garage for so long that it had all these racked up fees, and it just wasn't worth anybody's time to basically go and get this thing, even for scrap metal, because they said it was going to cost about $7,000 to repair. So he essentially asked me if I wanted to go and sell this thing. He said I could keep all of the money I get for scrap, or something like give him half or something like that. But I could keep a good portion of it, but I had to get the Easy Pass and I had to get the seat, and that's what he wanted. So I said, okay. So that sounds pretty good. Now this was back in the time when I was just spending a few dollars a day on meals. I lived off of nearly nothing. I didn't even spend enough money to buy myself a bed because I was saving all the money I could have, or all the money that I got, so I would one day be able to buy my house. So I went from the place I rented to buying my own house within a year of time. So I was saving like religiously in anything I could do to get money. Maybe I should disable those. Thank you for the follow, though. Oh, man. So, we'll just do this. We'll just bring it down a little bit. Appreciate that. So anything I could do to get money, I tried to do. So it's like, okay, yeah, so scrapping a van, who knows how much this is going to be. So I get the current van we have, and one of my teammates that I actually brought in from college, and really good guy. So I said, hey, we've got this thing that we got to do, and we have like one day to do it. So the idea is we go up there, we acquire a van that can't move, we pay the fines from the parking authorities or whatever. It was an auto mechanic garage. We pay whatever we owe them for storage, and then we proceed to get the van scrapped. We got to then get the whole thing sold. And I was like, I will give you $100 or something, if it works. Like, if it doesn't work, then, we both wasted our time. But if it works, here you go. So he says, and we were college friends, right? So he mentions a whole bunch of people that we were friends with in college that obviously weren't part of the company now. He said, if it was this guy or this guy or this guy, he's like, I would not do it. I would not do it at all. Because we're going to a city where we've got to do all of this in one day, and we have to acquire the van, we have to somehow find somebody that's going to pay us, and we have to get the whole thing scrapped, and we have so little time. He's like, but because it's you, Blade, you have a way of getting things done. Let's do it. And I was like, all right, man, sounds great. And I remember it wasn't $100. It was actually, I was going to give my regional director $100. He was going to get the seat and the Easy Pass and then I would keep the rest. And I told this guy, my friend Kevin, I was like, you and I will just split it. So that was the way that all worked. So we're like, okay, great, so let's do it. Now, we take our second van, you guys, and I'll just add this to the story, because I usually don't mention this, because it just makes it a little bit longer. But when we take the second van upstate, that also breaks down. So, yeah, nice, right? This time, that one overheated, and we managed to get it into a shop, get it towed, and it was kind of a nightmare as well. Like, this was before I took over maintaining our vehicles, you know, and things worked. But, yeah, the second vehicle actually breaks down on the way to rescue and save the first vehicle. So, that sucked a lot. Edsgar with the sub, dude. Thank you for that 2-month sub. He's going Blade style. Welcome, dude. Welcome back, Team BoQuest. And you tuned in for story time. You got it. So, now we have to wait a week, you guys. We're delayed an entire week at this point on getting that. So we make the plans again. We're like, all right, we only have one day. If it doesn't happen now, because remember, it's racking up $20, $25 or so every single day that it's in storage for this parking or this auto mechanic. So we start driving up. Now I have him drive, so he's the driver. I'm the coordinator of all this stuff. And I get on the phone from like one junkyard to the next junkyard to the next junkyard. And I say, hi, I've got this van. I need to sell it, and I need to sell it today, so I'd like to scrap it with you. How much am I going to get? What's going to happen? And so they say, all right, how much does your van weigh? And I didn't know. I looked over the title, because I did get the title from my regional director, right? I got the title from it. And you know what else he gave me? He gave me his driver's license and his credit card. So I had my regional director, or my regional manager's credit card, license, and title to this van, and I basically just had to find a way to make it all work. Holy crap, fighting a lead right now without paying attention. That's not good. So I look at the title, and it's a 1-ton van. So, I talk to the next junkyard, and I'm like, oh, it's a 1-ton van. They say, well, man, okay, so, it's too bad you hit us at this recession. It would have been $800 or whatever, but I can give you about $350. No, seriously. He actually came back with $350. And I was like, all right, thank you. I'll give you a call if I decide to sell it for that little. And then I called the next guy, and I called the next guy, and I called the next guy. And I kept calling these junkyards on our way up to New York. And I got, a dozen different prices and things. And finally I found one that was like $500-some. I was like, okay. And of course, I called back the first guy. I was like, so I got an offer of $550. Can you beat this? And I called them all. I was trying to negotiate the best deal, because that's kind of, what I would do. And I had all the time in the world to do it, so we were just driving up there. So finally, I get like 550-ish, 5 something, and nobody could beat it. So I was really happy with this. The only problem was, I gave, let's see, we're going to have to make up some names here for this story. I gave my real name, which, I don't know, we'll just say, well, it's Evan, right? So that's easy enough. I don't have to make up my own name. So I gave my name Evan on the phone. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm Evan. So, I've got this van, and I'm basically going to go pay for the repairs. I'll get ownership of it, and then we'll get it scrapped later that day. Like, I only got a day in New York, so, when do you close? And they say, they're closing at 5 sharp. And this is a Manhattan scrapyard. And we're driving, and we're going to be pretty dang close to late, if not for sure late. We were in some trouble there. Wabacha with the Panic Legion. Oh, he wants to name the followers Panic Legion. Welcome back, my friend. Team BoQuest, or whatever you want to call it. Dang. It's going Blade style, guys. Thanks a lot. Wabacha, one of the all-time super supporters. He's my first subscriber, you guys. So now we're driving up. I've got everything coordinated, kind of. I know the place I'm going to sell this van, which is great. Oh, look, it's this guy. Oh, man. I don't even care. All right, so I know the place that I'm going to sell this van, and I also, so everything's coordinated. So we just got to get to this garage. Now, I go there, and I don't remember the details of this, unfortunately. It was before I was really journaling, and I lost a lot of the details, but I remember it was a full-on shenanigans negotiation. It didn't make any sense at all. It was, I don't know if they were scamming me outright, or there was a huge misunderstanding with what he coordinated with We'll just call my regional director Chuck, because we got to give him a name, so we'll just say Chuck. But either way, it was going to be a lot more money than expected, right? That's how it usually is. So ultimately, I had to basically bargain with them. I said, listen, my boss doesn't want this van. And essentially, except for the fact that I'm here figuring out something we can do with this van right now, it will just sit on your property. And he's going to abandon it. I'm just telling you. So I'm happy to give you more than what you told me I owe you on the phone because of whatever you're now telling me. I can't remember what it was. But I compromised, I negotiated, and took a little bit of additional cut. Finally got ownership of the van from this garage, which was great. The only thing was, antifreeze was mixing with the engine, which means you can't move it, right? So I get the key to the van, and I know where it is. And I'm like, great, so awesome. I paid all of the fees necessary. I'm like, thanks for the receipt, everything's good. And now I'm kind of running behind on the scrapyard because I had to be there by 5, and I don't know what time it was. But we get into our van, the second one, right? And Kevin is driving, and you should have seen this guy. He deserved to get half of whatever money that we would hopefully get from this, because he was just like a bulldozer on the Manhattan roads, because that's what you have to do. They don't respect turn signals. It was beeping, changing over 3 lanes. I was a little bit scared, but I knew that we had one shot at this. And he was scared too. He doesn't normally drive like that, but he just kind of made the whole road situation work for us. So I'm calling this guy up again. I'm like, hi, I'm Evan. I'm sorry. I've been talking to you all day about this van, and everything is fine. Everything is good. We're on our way over right now. I'm like, I just had to pay the final fees to get it back from the mechanics, and I'm so sorry. Please don't close. Like, please don't close. And at this point, it was basically 5. And they're like, we'll see if we can stay here like another couple minutes or something, and we're like a half an hour away. And it was really, really rough. Anyway, we finally get there. It takes so long. I think I made them wait for about a half an hour. And I called them a bunch of times. I just kept calling, like, hey, we're like 10 minutes away now. The GPS gave us the wrong turn. We're in Manhattan. We're not used to this. I'm so sorry. Like, it's all right. We're just chilling here. It's okay. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. I'm Evan. Thank you again for this. And I kept using my name over and over and over again. And then I realize, when I get there, I'm not supposed to be Evan. I'm supposed to be Chuck. I'm supposed to be the owner of the van I'm selling. But I had just talked to like everybody in this office all day, explaining the situation, using my real name, and I'm now like, I need to go in there under a different name. Holy crap. Whoops. And so it gets really hairy really fast. I walk in there, I was like, and I start off, I'm like, okay, I just need to be bold, and I'll be like, all right, it's fine. So I go, I'm like, hi, I'm Chuck, and I've got Chuck's driver's license, I've got Chuck's credit card, I've got the title to the van, and he goes, Chuck, we're waiting, no. Who are you? You told me your name was Evan. And I was like, this is Kevin. That must have been, I was like, no, this is Kevin. I'm Chuck. I've been talking to you all day. And they're like, okay. They're very like, that's not what happened, Now, meanwhile, keep in mind, I got to sell this van for cash, okay? Because that's the way Manhattan does it. And so, oh, God. So I give over the title, and Kevin is he's like a very silent, introverted, idealized, like, if you can imagine, if you've ever seen the IT Crowd, he was literally Moss, like identical, just the same kind of personality. He was actually one of my best friends for a really long time. Good guy, very reserved. Said nothing, stood there with arms at his sides, super awkward, and I'm sitting there like, are they going to take this title? Oh my God, what's happening? So they look over the title and they go, okay, it does say Chuck. And all right, so you're Chuck. I was like, yes, I am. And I was like, okay, good. And they basically say, all right, well, we need to see some ID. It's like, sure. So I hand over not my license, my regional director's license. Now, keep in mind, this is all legal, probably. I don't actually know, but that's, you know, I had the permission of the person that owned the van, so I wasn't breaking any laws as far as I know. So I hand over his driver's license, Chuck's driver's license, and now he picks it up and he puts it to my face and he goes, "Chuck?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, Matt, come here and look at this." I don't look like him. I don't look like him at all, you guys. He has black hair. He's Jewish ethnicity. He's got a bigger nose. He has a totally different smile. Not at all. And I just handed him this license after switching the name. And now he's like calling his boss over to now look at this, you guys. So now we got Matt and Bernard, or whoever, I don't know their names, but whatever. We got Matt and Bernard, and they're holding Chuck's license to my face. Okay? You know, Kevin's still here. Kevin's still here just like arms at his side, not knowing what to do. I don't know what to do. I've got my like air of confidence and just kind of looking out there waiting to see what the heck is about to happen. And he essentially goes, Chuck, you do something with your hair recently? And I was like, you gotta do what you gotta do for the ladies. They're both like, you gotta, get a load of Chuck here, man. Yeah, he's ladies, man. You gotta do what you gotta do for the ladies. All right, Chuck, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Don't look relieved. I'm Chuck. I gotta do what you gotta do for the ladies. Everything's fine. Good. And like Kevin's body temperature dropped like 18 degrees right there. He was like a heater in the room and just like, everybody, we were so relieved, but we had to not let that be shown, right? Gotta do what you gotta do for the ladies, you guys. Get out of jail free card, I'm telling you. Oh my god. So they cracked up and they're like, yeah, absolutely, all right, yeah. So they now have me sign the title. They've got my driver's license. And then they basically say, so where's the van? So it was like, so, you know, is it outside? I was like, it doesn't move. They're like, wait, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I mean, I came up here to get it scrapped, but we couldn't afford the repairs. It was $7,000 to fix the engine, and we weren't going to do that. I'm like, it's over at whatever and whatever auto parts. And he's like, you don't have the vehicle here that you're scrapping? I was like, no, it doesn't move. It's like, I figured you could just tow it over here. You know? I don't know. Like, I just am trying to make this happen, make this work. I don't understand their protocol or the fact that it makes no sense to sell a vehicle I don't even have, right? Not only did I not own it, I didn't even have it with me. So they're like, okay, how do we know it's there, Chuck? And I was like, just call him. Like, I had to negotiate this whole thing. I'm like, look, here's my receipt. You can see that I paid for the storage. I've got it free and clear. They're expecting you to pick it up in the morning. You know, you're half an hour away. They said you've done it in the past. And they're like, all right, well, you know, we got to call. We got to call and make sure that this vehicle is there. I can't give you money for a vehicle you don't even have. And I was like, yeah, of course. You know what? It was closed. They were closed. And now, I'm Chuck. You gotta do what you gotta do for the ladies, you guys. I've signed over the title. They can't even verify there's a vehicle. They can't even verify it. So now they just gotta go off of my word and my determination to succeed and make this happen throughout any level of adversity. You guys, remember, if you face difficulty, it's not a limit of resources, it's a limit of resourcefulness. And so I was just using my willpower to make this happen, right? And so I was like, look, here's the key, here's the title, like, I've signed it to you, you've got my ID, like, here's the receipt showing that it's done. I'm like, I'm sorry that we can't reach them, you know, but I've got to make this happen. This is my only day here. Like, tomorrow I'm leaving for, like, Virginia for 2 weeks or something. And so they're like, finally, they're like, okay, we're taking you at your word. You know, and we don't do that, you know. We're a Manhattan scrapyard. We don't do that, but okay, just give me the key. And I have the key in my hand. They see the key, and I'm like, I can't give you the key. I'm sorry. I actually have to go back over there and get the seat out of the back of the van and get the easy pass. I was so in a rush to get to you, I didn't even do it, and I can't give you the key. And they look at each other like, I just can't, I can't give it to you. I'm sorry. Like, you can't give me the key to the van that isn't here that you're selling me right now. I was like, here's what I'll do. The whole point of me coming up here was to get the back seats from this thing, all right? Get the back seats. My boss wanted it. He said I could scrap it and whatever. But I got to get the back seats. I got to get the easy pass. So I need to go over there and do it right now. I can come back and give you the key, or they're like, no, we're not going to be here. I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Like, I'm just making this plan, right? I'm just force of will making this happen. I was like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get the back seats from the van, and I'm going to put the key in the tailpipe. I'm like, there you go. You're going to get, the key's going to go in the tailpipe. And they said, okay. And they handed me $500 cash. They handed me $500 or $550 or whatever it was. And I shook their hand, and I just, said, thank you very much. I'm sorry that I had to put you through all this. I really appreciate it. I'm like, the van is there. The key will also be there. And everything will be fine in the morning. They're expecting this. Here's the receipt showing that I did pay for these repairs. It's all on the up and up. And I walked out of there with $500 cash, you guys. Not leaving a van, not leaving a key, telling them my name was Evan all day on the phone, then changing my name to Chuck, having an ID that looks nothing like me, and still walking out of there with the money. And Kevin is like, again, Evan, only you could have done that. I was like, dude, I don't even know how that happened. Like, I have no idea. But we just cracked up for like 15 minutes. But the story's not even done. Because we had to go back, right? We had to go back. The story's not done. So we then, we're just laughing and amazed that happened. We're like, oh my God, there it is. I gave him half, and we were both super excited about our day. We're like, that was amazing. But now it's getting dark, you guys. And we're in Manhattan, and that's a pretty dangerous place to be after dark, especially in the types of areas that we were. We're talking every street is, a collision center or a liquor store or a strip club or something, and we didn't want to be there after dark. But we did have to get the seat out of this thing, which proved to be a problem. Okay, so what we basically did was we started driving up, and I'm telling you, this place after dark did not look good. There was like wrecks here, there. They were all over, broken sidewalks and graffiti all over the buildings and people milling about. And I'm just like, we need to go up to this van. We need to open the door, get the seat out. We need to put it back in our van, and we need to get out of there, like right now. So we do. We see the van. We pull up next to it. We both hop out. I take the key, I unlock the side doors, I unlock the back, and the back is open. I get the easy pass. We're both in the back, and we're looking at this seat. And you know what? We're yanking on the seat right now. And there are like 8 guys that now start moving towards our van. And I look up, and they are coming right towards the back. And they are not running, but they are moving with a purpose to get to us. And they are everywhere. And I am like, no real thought other than I move to the edge of the van so I can immediately jump out. And like, I don't know if we're gonna fight and die or whatever, but it was go time, basically. And you know what I hear was, "What are you doing?" Which is not what I expected to hear from a bunch of people about to kill us. I didn't expect to hear, "What are you doing?" So I was like, I own this van. I just put it in the scrapyard. We need to get our seats out of this van. And I found out they actually worked there. They were there. They thought we were robbing stuff. So they ran over to stop us from stealing. That's what was happening. Thank you for that follow. So, Kevin and I have this instantaneous flash of, we're about to die, or at least fight 8 people. That was right after my Kung Fu years, so I don't know. It wouldn't have ended well, no matter what. But it was like, we had that instantaneous flash of, now it's going down, right? Well, they think we're stealing. So I'm like, no, 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 it's all good. Look, here's my receipt. Everything was paid. Everything was good, and I just literally I'm getting the seat because my boss wants me to get the seat for some freaking reason. I'm here trying to get the seat, and it's important to him. I got to get this, which by the way was such a waste of time. It stayed in the storage unit for like 3 years after that, but we got this stupid seat, and finally I was like, everything's fine. This van's gonna be scrapped tomorrow. The scrapyard's gonna pick it up. And they were just there after hours, basically. That's why they didn't answer the phones, but they were just doing whatever they do after hours. So I was like, I'm glad you're here. I can't get the seat out of this van. Like, I don't know how to do this, And I'm like, can I give you like $5 right now, and you could just wrench this out for me? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So I ended up just tipping this random guy $5. He actually got his auto mechanic tools, and we had to full on like unratchet this seat from the back of the van, which, by the way, by all accounts should have been pretty much impossible. Had I not run into the people with the tools, we would have gone up here and had no seat. Every step of this story is such a random, insane fact that this actually occurred this way. So they helped me get the seat out. We throw it in the real van. We get the easy pass. We start driving home, and now officially we're happy that that was over. We're like, all right, thank God, this is great. And we get a great night's sleep until the morning, which is when I get a call from the scrapyard. What do you think they have to tell me? They say, okay, we did go over and we see the van, so like that is legit. The title you gave us, the van you sold us, is not this van. You did not sign over the title to this van. I was like, what? What do you mean I didn't sign over the title of the van? I'm like, that's not the title of the van? So I call Adam. I was like, dude, or Chuck, sorry. I call him. I was like, dude, this was so hard to coordinate, and the title is wrong. He's like, oh, I knew it was the wrong title. I wasn't sure. Is it 2007? Is it 2001? Oh, man. Yeah, I was thinking as soon as you left, I gave you the wrong title. I'm like, well, now what? Man, now what's gonna happen? He's like, I'll fix it. I'll fix it from here, So I meet with him. I give him his $100. I give him his credit card. Give him his driver's license. And I don't know how that ended up. I don't know if they legitimately mailed each other the titles like they should, or if they're both like, whoops, oh well. I have no idea. But I never heard from the scrapyard again. I know they did successfully scrap the van, and Chuck, oh well, I'm not good with these anonymous names. He just was like, yeah, it's resolved, it's fine. So, I gave him the $100. Kevin and I split the rest, and yeah, guys, that was an insane adventure. All about how we first broke down in the middle of the night. Antifreeze mixing with the engine. We got no sleep at all for that first sales weekend. It was a nightmare. We had to work a full day. I got seriously 45 minutes of sleep. My boss went home and then made me the boss of the entire show. So it was crazy that first time when the first van broke down. Then I had to try to rescue it. And then trying to rescue it later, the second van broke down. I had to coordinate it again. We had to go back a third time and then somehow, through nothing other than sheer force of will, make it all happen. I sold a van I didn't own, that I didn't have with me, using somebody else's name and a driver's license that doesn't look like me, after already telling him my name, not even giving him a key, and having zero verification that this van even existed, giving him a title to a totally different van, and I walked out with $500 cash in Manhattan. It was absolutely an insane journey. And that was one of the times, there are many times like this in my life that taught me this lesson, but that was one of the many times I learned that no really doesn't mean no necessarily. And as long as your cause is just and right, it's all in my profile here talking about, success principles and things. Persist until you succeed. Don't batter somebody down, but if you're out there for a mission and, people are telling you it can't be done or it's impossible, just use literally your sheer persistence and willpower, and make it happen, you guys. So there you go. That's my how I sold a van I didn't own story. So Good stuff, guys.